Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our Mystical Wellness podcast. I have a really special guest joining me today, who's Erin Elizabeth, who is a targeted individual, which we've just discovered because we're running a lot of interference right now, and so much more. So, Erin, please, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and we can go wherever you would like to go.
Okay. Thank you, Julia, first off, for asking me to come on your podcast. Like, it means a lot to me. And yeah, I have been speaking out. It's been probably like the last 3 years pretty heavy, but it's getting easier over time. I have, since I've been very, very young, I've had a lot of experiences, and when you're young and that's happening, you don't know enough yet, but over time, it was like a lot of experiences, nothing made sense, but like at this point everything makes sense. So I have been doing meditation for a very long time. I started very young, about 3 or 4 years old, and that has definitely helped me out in a lot. I research genealogy. I've been when I woke up from a coma that I had when I was 8 years old. I woke up out of that and I was just obsessed with research and genetics. So many things have happened, and it's so much so that I don't know what all to include, but like you could just ask me all the questions you
Okay, yeah, I
want
mean,
and
it's
I can answer.
fascinating because I was listening to a couple of your other interviews when you were talking about that you had an accident, you went into a coma, but you came out with a totally different personality. What was that like?
It was very strange. Um, and I'm getting more memories back, over time, over the years, I've got more memories back. But after I woke up from it, even when I was like back home and everything was like starting to get back more to normal, I I couldn't remember for like probably around 2 to 3 weeks before the accident even happened. And so it took a bit of time, and memories started to return. And I was a happy kid. I mean, having like sleep paralysis and everything and all these experiences made it difficult, but I was able to find, just like happiness, wherever I was. So I was a happy kid. I was really shy before the coma. When I come out of it, I mean, and there were different levels of it because when I first came out, of course, I had to do a lot of physical therapy and relearn how to do everything really. And so, that was tough, and I had to be really determined to do that. But so I was home for a while before I went back to school, but I was really excited to go back to school. When I did go back to school, during that year, I was having a very hard time. Everything was very, very difficult. I was happy that I was at school, but everything was different. Now, I know it was not just from the injury to my head, but it was about, I know now, things that had happened, like while that I was in that hospital. Um, when I went to my next grade, though, when I went into third grade, I was completely different. I felt very social. I made top grades in my school. Um, I did 100% on everything, never got in trouble, which I never got in trouble. Like, I was always a good kid. I didn't want to break any rules. Um, but yeah, it was very different. And then people were like, you know, I would think, "Oh, Julia, I can't see you."
I'm still here. It's okay. Don't
You
worry.
still here? Okay, good.
Don't worry if I mute because my Zoom is set to speak of you anyway. So it's only you that can see me.
Okay.
It's okay.
All
Don't worry,
right.
I'm still here.
Okay, good. But yeah, it was really crazy. Because I I didn't realize that I was doing so well in school because I wasn't like comparing myself to other people. Like I wasn't comparing my grades to other people's grades, but the teachers were very interested, and they always asked me a lot of questions and things like that. After third grade, we moved to Texas. And when I got into school in Texas, I remember one of the first questions that I remember my teachers asking me, besides just like, basic stuff, it was after we had done maybe a couple weeks of work. And they were very curious. They were asking me, they were like, where did you go to school? Because, on your grade level, you seem like that you've done this before. And, still I wasn't, and I just told them like where my old school was and everything, so, but yeah.
That's pretty cool. Do you think your mind was enhanced from that coma period? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't remember, like, I know a lot happened while I was asleep in there. I don't have the memories back of what was happening
Mm.
during that time, but it was definitely something. Like I may never know. If I never know, that's fine.
Yeah.
If I find out, that's good too.
Sounds like it feels like the brain was rewiring itself in that period. Tell us about your connection to Admiral Byrd.
Okay, so and when I told you that I was always, since I was a kid, I was really, really interested in researching my genetics, so when the internet came around, because it, like when I was younger, I would just ask questions to people, and I would like write or make notes on things, or I'd even like create stories with different people, and just like try to just write about it. But so when the internet came around, not at first, but then when we were able to like pull records on our bloodlines and everything like that, it wasn't at first. It was after some years that I had been researching my genetics and all my ancestry. I saw Admiral Byrd in my tree. Now at this time, I this was before, we're all talking about these things now. This was before everybody's talking about Admiral Byrd. This was before, everybody's talking about like what's in Antarctica. I mean, I know that he did back then, but I'm talking about just like all of the collective as a group and that. So, but my relation to Admiral Byrd, he is not a grandfather, but okay, so Admiral Byrd's fourth grandfather is Colonel William Byrd. Colonel William Byrd is my seventh grandfather, and Colonel William Byrd, they were the 13 first families of Virginia.
So, do you have access to his diary? Because a lot of people are talking about the infamous diary. So, what's in the diary for a start? Because I'm not that familiar. But what do you know about the diary?
Okay, I do know that in his entries, he talks about that, and he never really talked about this publicly. It was found in his diaries after his death. His death, strangely, was just a few days before everything happened at the Pentagon about Valiant Thor. Anyways, though, but in the diary, he did talk about they're on an expedition. They're flying over Antarctica. They're going on to Antarctica. And he talks about seeing mammoths. He said in the center of Antarctica, because Antarctica is just ice, it's just like a block of ice. But he says that in the center of Antarctica, there was a very lush, like tropical climate that should not have been there. He couldn't, explain it or make any sense of it. Also, in the diaries, he talks about how that they had a lot of disturbances on, their equipments, their radios, their, planes and everything like that. And I wish I could remember at the moment more things that he talks about, but he does talk about meeting with extraterrestrials, and that I wish I could go into right now, but it's like I'm kind of drawing a blank, but it is there. So thank you for asking me that
That's
question though, because
awesome.
that is
Yeah.
something I want to look at too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome. It'd be great to expand into that at some point. Have you had like ET experiences yourself?
I have. Yeah. When I was 5 years old, I had an abduction, and when that one happened, I used to go to church with my neighbors, and I loved my neighbors. They were really great people. Everybody was cool. But one day when I went to church with them, um, as we were walking out, and I am walking out of the church with a group of people, we opened the door, like they opened the doors for us to walk outside. Only as I walked outside, nobody was there. It was me. I was all alone. Like the doors open, I walked out and there's no one. There wasn't even any vehicles or anything. And I wasn't scared, but I was super confused. Like I'm like, what is going on and how is this happening? Um, I was just looking around. I was shocked. I was amazed. And I was like, what? And so I walked around the building. I think I walked around the building 3 times, and then I saw this woman. Now, when I'm going around the building, so like I didn't see her like appear, but nobody's there. There's not even any cars. And when I finished rounding the building again, there is a woman there. Um, and so I walked up to her, and I talked to her, and I was like, "Hi, I don't know what happened, but nobody's here anymore and I need to go home." And she said, "What's your name?" And I told her my name, and she was like, "Come with me and I can help you." So I went with her, and I'm trying to remember the vehicle. I can't quite remember the vehicle. I can't remember getting inside of the vehicle with her, but I do remember we're inside of a vehicle. She's driving. I'm sitting over here in the passenger seat. Like I was so small, like I couldn't even see where I was or out the window or anything. And it felt like there were other people in the vehicle. Like I felt a presence of other people, but I did not see them, did not hear them. So she's driving, and then she pulls over on the side of the road. And when she pulled over to the side of the road, she said, "Okay, now it's time for you to go with your neighbor." And I was like, "Okay, well, thank you for helping me." And so I got into my neighbor's vehicle. The neighbor drove me home. And then the rest of that day at my house seemed pretty normal. Um, Now, according to the neighbor, what happened is this. They drove back. They drove back to their house. And when they got home, they realized, oh no, we left Erin. This woman has passed, I think, so there's not a way that I can talk to her. I really wish that I could, just to ask some questions about what happened on her end. But she said that they got home and they realized that they forgot me. And so she went back to get me. Um, Now, I had no idea at the time what was really truly going on, but I did, after that happened, I did start to write a lot. I started to write a lot, not about anything spooky or not even about that event, but I wanted to write. I definitely wanted to write. So I got in that heavy. My mom is awesome. She taught me how to write when I was 4 years old. So it was like before I was in school, but she helped me with that because I really wanted to learn to do that, and she helped me. Um, Now, oh, no, no, no. I lost something that I was just fixed to say to you. This is what I was going to say to you. Okay. So when I got home, on that day. And I said that the rest of that day seemed pretty normal. I was just glad to be home and that I made it back, and I was like, well, whatever happened, I'm just like here now playing with my toys and stuff. But the next day, I had the strangest feeling. I felt really sad, and I felt like that I was missing from a group of people. Like I felt sad that I missed my friends, but I could never explain it to myself because I was like, why am I so sad? I feel like someone has been like torn away from me, or I have been torn away from this group of people, and I never could explain it. And I can now, of course, not, every full detail, but I do know that I was sent somewhere and I was working with some people. Also, during that
Was
time,
that
that's
20
when
back type stuff
I,
you're
I,
referring to?
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
And during that time too, sorry, 1 second. I'm just, okay. Yeah, this. Okay.
Yeah.
I started to be really, really sad about soldiers. I was 5 years old. I was crying myself to sleep at night thinking about soldiers. And it was just like, I felt heartbroken. And it wasn't anything that I could talk to anybody about because I didn't even really know how to talk to myself about it. Plus, I'm only 5 years old,
I mean,
so,
5 years old is quite
you know,
average to be taken into the programs. It is, from 5 years old. In my personal experience, it was kind of tagged and DNA taken and put into training and stuff like that at 5 years old. So I can understand where you're coming from there. Yeah. Do you have many other memories about being with the soldiers?
I have I have like the memories of the emotions fully. As far as like my off planet times, I do not have those memories back.
Okay.
Although it's strange because there are many, many people who have also been in the programs who have vivid memories of me being there, of
Yeah.
what our mission was, where we were, what my name was, the type
That's
of
amazing.
ability that they would use me for.
That's amazing because that's quite rare because I'm only just starting to come out now and I've been really lucky that I've connected with three people who I've got really strong ties with. But quite a lot of my aspects were super soldier scientists who are isolated and things like that, genetics. So not many people would see me, and people that did see me would fear me because of the work that I was doing. So, but I do have soldier aspects and things like that. So, are there particular people that you're drawn to, or are there particular people that you avoid? Because for me, there's some people in the community I avoid. I'm not going to say who they are, but I know that there's something happened there, and I'm just, and it was the same even with Drago Reed, who's my partner. And I avoided him because I just didn't gel. But there was a block, a resistance that was stopping me from connecting, from reactivating the neural link. Yeah. So any strong emotions that you're having are probably a good indicator that you know that person, whether it's positive or negative. Right? Doesn't matter. Most of it was negative. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Fascinating.
Um Yeah, it really is. It's truly incredible. It's like I'm just like, some days you just like pinch yourself like, really, but yeah, really. And when we talk about this to people, they have no idea. And I'm like, look, unless you yourself have been in the situation, you're never going to be able to understand. It's not, it's just that way. And so I
Yeah.
used to try to really, really hard explain, like, hey, this is stuff that everybody needs to know about. But it's just like,
Yeah.
truly, there's only so much you could do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Then,
so in 2000, oh,
Sorry, I was thinking like as a 5-year-old, when you've got all these strong emotions and this deep, probably sadness and depression, and then the people around you don't know why. Did it carry on for
Right.
long, or did you kind of alter out onto that and move forward? What was it like as you got older?
My life has been very like, now I'm have a totally different outlook on life and everything because I understand why everything that's happened. But it's been hard. Like it's been super, super hard being me. Because everybody that would come into my life, I was targeted, so everyone, even girls that would want to be friends with me, and they had no idea what's going on, but it's been really hard. But I have always had no choice but to keep going, even when stuff
Yeah.
got really, really tough, really, really just crazy, scary, super deadly stuff, I just like,
So what keeps you going?
I've
What do
been
you,
pushing forward.
yeah, what keeps you going? What are your like routines like, and or practices that really help you stay motivated among all the shit? Right?
Yeah.
Right? How do you stay positive?
Meditation.
Because you seem very upbeat.
Meditation, and like I told you, I've been doing it for a long time since I was really young. My papa, who is my mother's father, and he has passed, but we're all still connected. But he began to teach me about meditation really young, at a very young age, and I listened to everything he said, because I know he also had experiences too, because he would talk about things sometimes. Like me and him, we would always listen to talk radio, and it would be Art Bell, Coast to Coast, stuff like
Oh
that,
wow, you listen to
so
Art Bell. That's so cool.
yeah,
Yeah, we
he
don't get that
definitely
out
helped
here.
me out
But Robert
a
Tiffany's
lot.
Pepper
Yeah.
talks about it all the time, so it must have been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've had, even though there has been a lot of crazy stuff, I've had some help along the way, and so I'm very thankful for him to teach me about meditation at a young age, because that has saved my sanity like more times than I could even tell you. Um, And then, okay, so I started a YouTube channel back in like 2014. I was just making videos of like dresses and clothes and, just whatever, like me out like at a garage sale or, just something like that. Because really, I was just trying to find friends. I was trying to find community. And it wasn't like I was trying to go onto the internet to like find people and be like, be my friend, be my friend. But, just like some type of interaction with people that, were just cool with me, because in my like every day to day life, it's been very strange the way that people have treated me. Like always, people have treated me so strangely that you know, I always had questions. So in real life, I've never really had any actual friends. Um, like I said, there's been some good people. Yeah, so I started YouTube in 2014, and there was someone on my channel, like within my first couple of subscribers that I had, and he was always on there, and he was always so nice to me. And he, like, his profile picture was like not of his face, his username was not his first and last name, like it was a code name, but he watched me for a long time. Okay, so fast forward from 2014 to 2019, um, he told me who he was, and we started to talk outside of just YouTube comments, because he would just comment on my videos, and he would always be so supportive and just really, really nice. And from his just energy and the way he interacted with me, I always assumed for 5 years time, I assumed that he was a much older man, and I thought he was a vet, thought he was a military vet. I felt this just from his energy. But in 2019, we started to talk, and so we started to like message. But that was Chase. And so my book that I have out right now is called Chase Michael. I told him that I would do that. He's because one of the first questions he said is like, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do in life?" You know, when we started
Yeah.
talking outside of just YouTube, and I was
Is
like,
your
"I'm
book
trying to write
available
a
on
book."
Amazon? You got a book on Amazon?
Huh?
Your book?
Yes, I do have a book
Oh,
on
okay,
Amazon.
awesome. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and I can I'll send you the like, you know, the book
Yeah,
and everything after we do this. I'm not good at, you know, some people are like great at like doing
yeah.
all this stuff
No,
on
it's
here and
fine. Yeah, just
everything.
send me
That's
whatever you've got, and then I'll format everything into a publicity thing for you. That's cool.
okay.
Yeah,
All
don't
right.
worry. And then you'll be able to use it on
Yeah.
other shows as well. Yeah, that's really
Okay, great.
fascinating that you wrote a book. Trying to have a look here and see what was it called? Sorry.
It's called Chase Michael, and the front of the book, it shows it's like space. It's like a bluish, it shows mountains. So
Oh, I see it.
the book is called
Yeah,
Chase Michael based on a dream, and my writer name is Erin Robinson
yeah, I see
there.
that. That's awesome. So it's available in the UK, which is great in paperback as well. We don't always get
Yeah.
all the books, and sometimes when we do, they're really expensively to print out here. It's like Audrey Walters has just written this
Oh,
new book, and whereas it's cheaper to print in America than it is out here. It's like $50 or something, and it's like,
oh
yeah, so
wow.
I got it on Kindle. And but this is really interesting. So your book is dedicated to the unsung heroes, the quiet warriors who fight battles unseen, whose courage and resilience inspires us all. This story is for those who carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, yet find the strength to rise above adversity. It's for the dreamers, the believers, the individuals who dare to step beyond the confines of reality and embrace the unknown. So, for those who've ever found themselves standing at the precipice of something unknown, facing an overwhelming sense of impending doom, yet find the courage to step forward, this story is a testament to your strength and resilience. This looks really inspiring. Wow.
Thank
How
you.
long
And
did it
thank you
take
for
you to
reading
write
that.
that? Yeah, how long did you?
Actually, not long. It didn't take me a long time because I mean, here's what I did. Okay. Um, I did get AI to help me write that book.
Sure, yeah.
Though, okay, so basically the book is like this. The book is like a fictionalized version of parts of my real life.
Right.
So it's about a girl who works in a bookstore in New Orleans, and
Mm.
Chase comes into her life. And then, you know, it's about dreams and us working together, you know, in dream time and stuff like that. And, you know,
Oh, you froze.
genetic stuff too, stuff like that. But yeah, so I remember, huh?
You're freezing up a little bit. It's
Uh-oh.
okay. We're getting
I
experience.
lost you, I think. Oh, you're back.
I'm
Okay,
back.
you froze too. I heard you say you froze up and then you froze up.
Yeah, yeah, you froze
Okay,
up.
I'm here too.
Yeah. Yeah, do you think you're going to write a second book? Have you got something else planned?
Oh yeah, I want to do so many
Yeah,
books. Like you know, I've always loved writing so much, and now it's like it's more fun because it's you could do this, you know, equal or more work in your book, but easier, you know, and so that's really good. So I want to do more books, but yeah, so when Chase, and he was in the programs. I mean, he was definitely in the programs. When I met him, I he was so sad. He was so worried about me, and he told me, you know, he's like, "I've been watching you, but I need to tell you, you've got a lot of enemies." And he was warning me, and I would ask him, I would try to say, "Who are they?" And he would say, "It's everybody. It's
yeah,
everyone." You
yeah,
know? And he told me so many things. He was telling me so many things, but his thinking was so rapid speed that it was hard. It was like basically I feel this way. Basically I feel this is what I truly, honestly feel. I feel Chase come into my life to leave me clues to figure out what is really going on, because that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
So he,
Did
and
you,
I loved
did
him
you
so
get
much.
information about
He's
him being in the time travel projects?
I have tried to talk to some people to ask them, do they remember him? But no one does.
Okay, because Project Ibis is
And
popping into my mind, and that's a project that I've been in, and that was time travel. So, do you think he was from the? He'd been to the future and come back?
oh, definitely, I think
Yeah,
so. I definitely think that. So, and when he started to tell me so much information in 2019, he and we had such a strong energetic connection, and he was very targeted also. And so we wanted to, like, I was going to go get him, and we were going to just go somewhere away from, everybody that was targeting us. And so we had a plan to do that. And, we wanted to be together. Um, and he was gone. He was just gone. And I thought when he was gone, I thought that he was in the hospital, because his family would force him to go into a hospital every, like, from 2 to 3 weeks, and he would be there for some days. And when he would come out, he would not remember what happened there. He would only remember that he was trying to get out of there. So they were definitely using him heavy. Um, but yeah, so I couldn't find him. I didn't know where he was, and I was very concerned. And then I just, and I never used to, like, just type someone's name in a Google search. Like, I would never do, like, I had no reason to do it ever. But this day, after about 2 weeks, that I could not find him, and I was so very worried. And I typed his name in a Google search, and it pulled up an obituary. And I was just like, I felt like I died when that happened. Like, I seriously, sorry, I felt like I died when that happened. And
yeah,
but then, so okay, so that happened. And they said, like, it's, but now I know this. Now I know that is a fake obituary. And I didn't put that together until about 3 years ago, or no, about between 4 to 5 years ago. I put together that that was a fake obituary. So, whatever program took him, they just took him, because
yeah,
I asked questions. I tried to talk to everyone that
yeah,
knew him, which I didn't know anyone that knew him. So I had, like, nowhere really to ask questions to, except for a couple people I could find. Um, but nobody talked. Nobody said anything. No one responded to me at all. So I,
yeah,
on my own, looking to find out what happened to him. Um, and in me, years later, in me still looking, it's been 5 years,
yeah,
still looking to see what happened to him. That's how I found out about the super soldier programs, because I
yeah,
was just like, I would research this, then this would come up, then I would look here, and I would look here. And then, so, and the
yeah.
first person that I saw on a video talk about the super soldier programs was James Rink. And it was a video of James Rink. He had Ishmael Perez on. Now,
Mm,
I don't know if Ishmael, I've told Ishmael about this, but I don't know if
yeah,
he also has the memory of it. But he and I have done some stuff. I was dreaming heavy about that, and so I told him that. That was probably about, like, a year ago. Um, but yeah, so Ishmael was the first person that I actually was able to talk to about this. And it was weird how it happened, because I saw that video of James with Ishmael, And then, so I went onto Ishmael's channel. Right when I went onto Ishmael's channel, he was doing a live. I'm in the live. I'm asking questions. Everybody's talking about, like, the chat's going crazy. Everybody's talking about all different kind of stuff. But I was like typing these questions. I was like, look, I need to talk to you. I need some information, stuff like that. But the chat was just, he was like going with his information and not so much like, I don't know if that got his attention or not. But what happened from that is I was like, okay, so we didn't get to talk here. So let me try another way. So I found him on Instagram. I sent him a message. I was like, hey, I just saw you on James Rink channel. I've got some questions for you. And can you please talk to me? I'm looking for somebody. And so he sent me his phone number. He said, do not share this with anyone. And I have not, and I don't, because I don't do that. I'm very trustworthy. So if anybody ever needs, I just want everybody to know that, like, I am honest. You can trust me. Like, I do what I can. I really do what I can. But so he said, okay, here's my phone number. Call me in like 30 minutes. And I said, okay. And so within that 30 minutes, I just meditated and prayed so hard that when I spoke to him, I could come across really clearly, and that he would know that whatever is going on here, I'm a part of it too. But when I called him, yeah, it was like that phone call was another one of the things that just like totally changed my whole worldview. Like, we're on the phone and he's like, yeah, I'm getting memories back. I'm a lion who's billions of years old, and I'm like, most people would like hear stuff like that. They'd be like, what, and I'm like, no, look, I know there's way crazier stuff going on than that. But, so anyway, bless Ishmael. And also, I went back onto James's channel again. I saw a video with Arkeem. I felt, the energetic connection. It was a couple of months that I would go onto Arkeem's channel and, ask questions and say, just like, can we talk? But that didn't happen until, like, that never really happened until when I went on Rob's channel. So when I went on Rob's channel, and it was the podcast that had Arkeem on there as well. So
you have black hair.
Arkeem gave me some information.
Black hair. You look totally different.
Yeah, I know. I always said, because I used to do all different kind of stuff with my hair, like different colors and blue and purple and all that stuff. But one time I bleached my hair out so much that I damaged a bunch of hair, and I was like, I'll never bleach my hair out again. But I did. I was like, I know what I'm doing now, so I can do it safely.
I've given up on mine now. Mine used to be all different colors, and then I traveled for a long time, so then I just let it go, and now I've given up on it. This is my natural color now. It's going grey because I'm quite old. But yeah, can we just tune into your body and see how you're feeling at the moment? Because I feel there's a need to put in some extra protection. And I've got a sentinel scanning right now. So we just visualize some mirrors around you, but they're facing outwards. And we're just going to call in some white golden light from source, and we're going to anchor that in through the body, allowing it to build up and build up and build up so that it shines so brightly it reflects off the mirrors and just blasts anything in your vicinity. So are you okay?
Thank you. Yes, I'm good.
Great. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm getting messages coming in from friends who are like who are monitoring defense right now, because we are getting a lot of interference, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, you started to connect with Arkeem Ra. That's really cool. I've only had like 2 visions come in about Arkeem. One was me looking at him in a past situation, like in 1950s. And then another was me either looking through one of my clone's eyes and he's screaming at me in a military situation.
Wow.
So yeah, so I don't have any good memories of him. And I think I've sent him an email recently, but he's not reached out, so it's fine. And but we'll see when the time is right. It felt really awful sending him the email, so I know it's not the right time, but I'm sure he'll be aware of that. Um, is it okay if I give you some information about Chase?
Yes,
Okay.
please,
Okay.
please, thank you.
So I work with the pendulum, and I've just been asking the pendulum some questions. So I work with my higher guide team, and because you believe he's still alive, right?
I do, yeah, but I think
Yeah.
he's not on this
Okay.
planet.
Okay. He is actually on this planet, but he's not on the surface of the planet. So he is.
Okay.
At first, I got, is he underground, like in a deep military base? And I got yes, but then when I probed further, I got kind of underwater base. I got, is he aware of you? No, he's not aware of you at all. He's our total mind wipe. Yeah. So he's not aware of you. I asked her, are you getting targeted because of him? And I got negative. You're getting targeted because of your own bloodline stuff. Um, yeah, so that's what I got. I wasn't sure if to share that with you or not, because I work with certain people who can feel into things in a much deeper way. So I'll talk to you about that afterwards. And that
Okay.
probably help you. Because I like to be super sure, but my pendulum, it was pretty clear on that. He's definitely been mind wiped, so he's not aware of you. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that brings you comfort
And
or not. I'm
someone
sorry, I'm very blunt.
that and the way that things are now, it's like I stay grounded in my
Mm,
emotions. So I try not
good.
to get, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I knew that wherever
Yeah.
he is solely just doing work and can't remember anything of me. Like I felt that within myself one
Yeah.
time. And then also, I can't remember who it was or even if I don't know. I can't remember. I wish I could remember, but someone, I think it was Ishmael that told me this because Ishmael said that they took a bunch of soldiers in the beginning of 2020. He said, and that's
Mm.
probably where they took Chase. He said,
Okay.
and I think that this was Ishmael that said this, but if I'm wrong, then, but to the best of my knowledge, he did
Mm.
say that if that is what happened to him, he's not going to remember you right now. But in my eyes, that's good because I mean, the mission is the greatest thing. That's the biggest thing, more than a person, a relationship, anything. It's like the design is it. That's what has to happen. And so, if like somebody just being completely, not having their memories is what is going to make them do better work to get to our goal, then I'm fine with that. Like I'm good. Julia?
Yeah, I am here. I'm just dealing with a ship that's overhead. So
Okay.
yeah, so we've got Zetas coming in. So I've been told to picture a ship that's near us and picture mirrors around it, so that we can lock in the inhabitants and just slow down our breathing, slow it down, because we're going to, and be sovereign, and just declare that anything that comes to us will go back on 3 times because we are being messed with right now. So I'm not going to tell you what I'm getting, but I'll tell you after when we're not being recorded.
Okay.
But we are getting interference coming in, and it's mainly Zeta Grays and possibly something else. So if you see me disappear, I'm just dealing with something. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, but carry on. What were you
Okay.
saying? Sorry.
Okay. I can't really remember. I think that we talked about that when Ishmael told me
Mm,
that, if they took him to do if that's
yeah,
what happened,
yeah,
if he's doing that mission, he's not going to be able to remember me right now, like because the mission like that goes first. That has to happen. And so, like in the past, I already, and like when I said I felt it within myself too, in which you confirmed, like so I'm fine with it because, the mission is the most important thing. But also, yeah, so when the name of my book, when I named it, um, because like when I said, he was asking me like, what do you want to do in life? And I said, I'm trying to write a book. And this was before he even started to tell me about, you know, the stuff that was going on. Like he talked about Raytheon a lot. I think Raytheon was using him like super heavy. But he said, when you do your book, name it Chase Michael. And I did. And I like to do what I say I'm going to do. Also, it's, I, I feel that I've already done it in the past and that it worked for me and that it made my life better. Do you know what I mean about that? About like when you, and it's not like deja vu. It's not like when people have, like when we have deja vu, but it's like something, and it's not even a memory of it, but it's like just an inner knowing of like, hey, yeah, this, I did this, and that led to, you know, a whole lot of great things. So it's kind of like that too. But yeah, but I do want to definitely write more books. Like I have so many ideas for stuff, you know, it's just a matter of like sitting down and doing it. But my friend was asking me like every night when he asked me, what are you up to tonight? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to write. Well, I haven't done it yet, but that's because I've been, you know, interacting, you know, with you, with other people, talking, doing disclosure. And, you know, I read a lot of documents and stuff like that. Also, I meditate a lot. So when I do that, everything's off. You know, I power off my phone and every light in the house and everything. Cause for me, that's how it really helps me.
Yeah. Do you have like because you've been a targeted individual for a really long time, and I do feel it is like family ties and things like that. Do you have advice for people who are coming out newly awakened and discovering, like me, in the last year that I'm in these programs? Like, how do you cope with being targeted when it feels like everyone around you is an agent of some kind? What's that like for you?
I would say, like, if I had advice on that, because, like, I was in that situation. I was in a very dangerous situation at, like, the last place that I lived. It was terrible. Like, I'm talking about gang stalking, people pointing guns at me in my yard, stuff like that. But still, I was like, you know what? If I die, I don't want to die with nobody ever knowing what happened to me, or with somebody making up a story saying that it was an accident or whatever. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm speaking out. I would say this, like, we're here. We're here. Like, you have safe community and we love you and we are for you. I'm for all the people. Do not stay silent. And it's hard, even for me sometimes right now, even until just very, very recently, I had a hard time with things that I wanted to share that I would kind of hold off on sharing because I thought, okay, all these people know where I stay. All these people, and not even just here on the material plane, but other, you know, types of weapons and stuff too, and things that can make us sick and all that stuff. So I would hold back. But you know what? When I chose to just be like, okay, this is my life, this is my experience, this is what's happened to me, and I have not done anything wrong. I'm not the one hurting people here. Speak out. It can save your life. Got to speak out always, like no matter how uncomfortable that it is, because it is uncomfortable. I have been extremely uncomfortable forever. For my whole life, I have been very uncomfortable. I hide it well. Nobody knew anything really that I was feeling bad or going through anything because I try to stay positive so other people can feel good, you know? And so I've always been that way too. I'm like just the peacekeeper to keep the peace, to, you know, like that. But like seriously, everybody, if something is going on, talk about it because we're here for you.
That's so
love.
lovely. You're such a lovely person. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it here for today so that we can have a chat after the recording finishes.
Sure.
And I'd love to do more with you. But I'll be more prepared
Yes.
next time. Because I've got like 3, 4 people working on this with us right now. My full guide team, your full guide team, and I'm still getting a lot of interference coming in, physically and mentally and etherically. So, but this has been so good. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.